Hello, Coolman229 here with another Topic of the Week video, and this week I'll be talking about everyone's favorite round yellow person, Omi from Xiaolin Showdown. This topic was submitted by Android89, and her topic is, Omi is a bit of a Basebreaker character in the Xiaolin Showdown fandom. What are your thoughts and feelings towards him? Now, I grew up with Xiaolin Showdown, and, fairly recently rewatched the show. Fairly recently, within the last, year, but still. Omi, I can understand why a lot of people may not be as big on when it comes to Omi, simply because he can be a bit obnoxious. Now, one of the things that is notable with his character is that he's got the biggest ego when it comes to the four main characters. You can even see this all the way back in the first episode when we're introduced to Clay, Raimundo, and Kimiko. Omi's not exactly thrilled with the idea of having other people there. You see within the show, he doesn't like being shown up. And I can definitely see why some people might find that type of character a little grating, especially since some of his characteristics got kind of flanderized as the show went on. And it's a little disappointing that happened, but, stuff like that tends to happen as the show goes on. Even our Xiaolin Showdown only had 3 seasons. Omi is still, I think, an interesting character because he's not just a jerk and he's not just arrogant. Because especially when you see his relationships with Jermaine, and you see his relationships eventually grow with Clay, Raimundo, and Kimiko. Especially with Raimundo. One of the most heartbreaking moments is when Raimundo betrays them and Omi thinks that this is all just a joke. Because he couldn't fathom Raimundo doing something wrong. And I think sometimes, I know there are some people who really don't like Omi, and I'm not really going to fault them for it, but I think sometimes a lot of people miss that Omi is actually a kid. He's the youngest, and I think he's supposed to be straight up 10. Which is pretty ridiculous, but, it's a kid's show. Kids can do crazy stuff in that show. And, cartoon shows. But when Omi, he does grow in his own, and he does show a lot of positive character traits. So, in all honesty, I think when it comes to his negative character traits, he's balanced out by the fact that, he's got a lot of good ones, too. And even moments that look like he's just being a jerk, like when Jermaine comes back and he's, super awesome at everything, at all sorts of kung fu stuff, and everyone's just awesome, and Omi, partially out of jealousy, but the other part out of genuine suspicion, is how do you get this good? Now, yes, he was generally driven by jealousy, but he was proven right. But I've never really felt strongly for or against Omi. I've never really had any character in this show that I really, really, really liked or that I really hated. Honestly, I like all the characters equally. It's kind of like Avatar: Last Airbender. Where, honestly, I can't really think of any character that I actually hate. Yeah. So, when it comes to that, I can't really find it in me to even hate even some of the more obnoxious minor villains. Even someone like Panda Bubba. Because Panda Bubba at least had some interesting episodes. But really, I can see where they're coming from. In all honesty, I'll have to say that I like Omi. I don't like him as much as Clay, but that's probably just because I'm from Texas. But as far as general thoughts on Omi, it is actually kind of funny when you look at Omi, because he's basically a bit of a racist stereotype. But when it's actually something funny, and I think maybe Adrian and I have said this before, but each of the characters in Xiaolin Showdown, like the main group, are stereotypes in and of themselves. You have the super stereotypical Texas cowboy. Then you have the surfer dude Brazilian. And you have the totally wacky, tech-obsessed Japanese girl. So really, Omi doesn't seem all that out of place. And it's not like all the other ones are really, really normal, and then he's little and he's a little yellow guy. And and it's that sort of almost self-awareness of just how ridiculous each of these stereotypes are, and the fact that they do add depth to them that really make them not stereotypes. Or they make the stereotypes work. I think that'd be a better way to say it. Because one thing about Clay, and I'm pretty darn sure that Angel and I have actually said this in one of our Xiaolin Showdown videos, is that, being from Texas, like, I generally am pretty hostile to the cowboy stereotype. I'm from Texas, yeehaw. It's cringy, and honestly, it promotes a really stupid stereotype that's barely true, even in the most country parts of Texas. And believe me, I've been there. A lot of people from Texas are just normal. We're normal. We don't ride horses to school, or have cowboy hats, or walk around with big boots looking for gunfights. But one thing about Clay, though, is that he has so many other characteristics besides being a cowboy. And he's so over the top with his cowboyness that the show knows that it's a ridiculous stereotype. It knows that it's dealing with ridiculous stereotypes, and it doesn't try to play it up, and it doesn't try to dismiss it. And that's one of the things that makes it work. It's not doing it out of ignorance, really. It's doing it because they wanted to give each character a unique look and personality. You have a cowboy, a surfer dude, a tech wizard girl, and you have a martial arts master kid. And, each of them do fall into stereotypes, but even Omi comes off as Omi is his own developed character. Especially when you get into stuff involving Chase Young and the mentor relationship with that. But I know Angel would really, if she was here, she'd really, really be jumping in to start talking about that, because she loves that mentor-student relationship. Ultimately, though, I like Omi. I like Clay, and I like Raimundo, and I like Kimiko, and I like Master Feng, and I like Dojo, and I like all the characters. I don't feel like there's anything, really, really wrong with him. He can be obnoxious, but then again, part of me is just like, but he's also a kid. And you know what? I feel when it comes to kid characters, like, I feel a little more lenient to them than I would be a teenager or an adult character. Simply because he's a kid. And you know what? I think kids are allowed to act a little, bratty sometimes. Because they'll grow out of it. And ultimately, Omi proves himself to be capable, and especially graciously accepting the loss that when Raimundo was announced as the leader of the official leader of the team at the end of season 3. He didn't throw a fit over it. And you can do see that he has come to respect everyone around him, even back in season 1. And he does go through his own crap and his own story, especially involving Chase Young, especially in season 2. But yeah, Omi himself is a developed character. The one flaw really is that some of his worst traits were flanderized at points by season 3. But even then, with his flanderized, arrogance, he still, I don't think, ever crosses the line to being really horrible. Like, say, Bolin in Book 2 of Legend of Korra, where he became so flanderized in the completely ridiculous direction that he became completely obnoxious and totally unlikable. Omi, at the writing of season 3 could be a little wonky and maybe not as poorly constructed as it should have been, but it never goes into actually being bad. And even rewatching it, honestly, I don't even think it's that much down of a step in quality. I still very much enjoyed it, especially by the time you got to the end of the season. But every single person is going to have a different feeling. Every person is going to have different tastes and different interpretations when it comes to seeing different characters. Some people will be bothered by those flanderized moments more than others. Like, I'm really not as bothered by it. I'm not bothered as much by it, especially since I can point to the rest of his character and go, well, there's still good character in here. You know, just because he has a couple bad moments doesn't mean he's a bad character. I think really that's it. I mean, I want to do a simple topic that would be pretty short. I haven't done an actual pretty short topic in a while. But yeah, that's really all I really have to say about Omi and in Xiaolin Showdown. If you want to watch last week's topic about Liara and the Lair of the Shadowbroker DLC, you can watch that here. If you want to watch the next week's video, that when I post it, you can check that out here. So if you want to post a topic, just make sure to follow the rules that I have. Make sure that it's something fictional. Make sure that it's something specific that I can talk about. Don't just be like, why do you like X? Or what do you think of Y? And just give me something. Give me something like really kind of open-ended and really generalized. I like something specific because it makes it easier to focus the topic on something specific. When you want to submit a topic, you can go to my Tumblr and send me an ask and put topic, and then whatever you want me to talk about. Or if you're on YouTube, you can just comment below on whatever topic you want me to talk about. Just remember to follow the rules. And that's it. Thank you for watching.